When he came back out of the house, he started.
You need to call the police.
So who does this man know that he can kill a young mother, keep her baby, and there were two other females and a 6-month-old in the car. He hadn't been charged with nothing.
This is Taiisha Starks, a 22-year-old mother of one, student and entrepreneur whose promising future was shattered in an instant. What should have been a routine custody exchange turned into a deadly confrontation when her baby's grandfather opened fire, killing her on the spot.
You need to call the police.
For them to have a gun, I feel like that was all planned. They did not have to do this to my daughter. She had her whole future ahead of her.
Taiisha was balancing motherhood, college, and her dreams of success, determined to create a life her son could be proud of. She was just months away from graduating with a biology degree, and friends described her as ambitious, resilient, and full of hope. But in a shocking twist, she was shot 5 times, and despite the brutality of the act, no arrests were ever made. Why was a young woman with so much to live for silenced so suddenly? How could such a violent act unfold in front of witnesses, yet leave her family without justice? And what hidden tensions within her relationships set the stage for this tragedy? But before we get to the heartbreaking event that took Taiisha's life unexpectedly, let me take you back to who Taiisha was and how all these began.
We just want some answers. You know, it's been 2 months, and we still haven't heard anything. They haven't called us to let us know, how the investigation going.
Taiisha Starks, affectionately known as Tai by her family and friends, was born on June 22, 2000 in Brownsville, Tennessee. The youngest of 3 siblings, she was the beloved daughter of Tarsha Harris and Philip Starks. Growing up in a very close family, Tai's parents, along with her siblings, provided a foundation of love and support that shaped the woman she would become. From an early age, it was clear that Tai was destined for greatness. Tai was known for her infectious smile, her love for singing and dancing, and her innate ability to bring positivity into any room she entered. Her vibrant personality and ability to make others feel at ease were qualities that made her beloved by everyone she encountered. She was always the life of the party, someone who could uplift even the most downtrodden with a few kind words or a spontaneous dance move. Her talent and passion extended beyond just her social circles. Growing up in Brownsville, Tai was a bright student and a committed community member. During her high school years at Haywood High School, she participated in several extracurricular activities. Whether it was on the basketball court or leading the cheerleading squad, Tai always gave her best. Her passion for life, love, and happiness stood out not just in the classroom, but in everything she did. As high school came to a close, Tai's future began to take shape. Her enthusiasm and determination paid off when she graduated with honors in 2018, setting her on a path to greatness. Tai's accomplishments were a reflection of her hard work and ambition, signaling a future full of promise. She didn't stop there. Tai pursued her dream of higher education at Austin Peay State University, where she majored in biology with the goal of one day becoming a dentist. Her ambition was matched only by her caring nature, always eager to help those in need. Yet, even with her dreams taking flight, life had more in store for Tai than just books and aspirations. Tai also nurtured a budding business in the beauty industry, Tai's Extensions, where she showcased her skills as a talented lash technician. She had a deep love for beauty and a strong belief in hard work. Taiisha's ambition and dedication set her on a path to success. Balancing her academic goals with her entrepreneurial spirit was no easy feat, but Tai was driven by a fierce desire to make life better for herself. But as her personal and professional life flourished, Tai's heart would soon find itself in a new direction. In 2019, her life took a significant turn when she met 26-year-old Bryce Curry, a fellow student at Austin Peay. The two quickly hit it off, drawn together by shared values and ambitions. Bryce was a carefree man. He seemed to be on the right path. At the time, he was living with his parents, Taiish and Chelsea Curry, in Jackson, Tennessee. Tai and Bryce's connection grew, and soon after, they became parents to a son, Tansiton Curry. Tannen quickly became the center of Ty's universe, her pride and joy, the one person she would do anything for. Friends and family often described her as fiercely devoted, the kind of mother who would sacrifice anything to ensure her child's happiness and safety. At only 22 years old, Taiisha was balancing the heavy responsibilities of young motherhood with remarkable determination. She was running her small business, pursuing her college education, and navigating the everyday challenges of adulthood. However, the pressures of life began to catch up with Ty and Bryce. Despite her dedication to her studies, business, and family, Ty's relationship with Bryce started to show signs of strain. The pressures of balancing a young family, college life, and career ambitions took a toll. Yet, Ty remained resilient, always putting her son first and trying to create a stable, loving environment for him. Her hopes for the future of finishing her education, growing her business, and giving her son a better life remained her guiding force, even through the challenges that arose in her personal life. Custody disagreements over Tanston and unresolved issues in her relationship with Bryce had begun to take their toll on Ty. Eventually, they settled into a custody arrangement where Bryce would care for Tanston from Monday to Wednesday, and Ty would have him the rest of the week. However, beneath this seemingly cooperative setup, unresolved tension that would lead to something horrifying no one could have imagined. On February 20, 2023, Ty followed the custody arrangement, dropping Tanston off at Bryce's residence in Jackson, Tennessee, and beginning her long drive back to Austin P. However, just hours after arriving at school, Ty received a phone call from Bryce which would change everything. Ty had agreed to drop Tanston off at Bryce's home earlier that day, as it was his scheduled time with their son. After settling Tanston in with his father, Ty, who was attending college at the time, had to return to school. But soon after arriving, she received an unexpected call from Bryce. The conversation was intense, and Bryce insisted she find someone else to take care of their son because he had class the next day. This simple request quickly escalated as the argument grew heated. Bryce, clearly frustrated, suggested that Ty's mother, Taiisha Harris, pick up Tanston instead. Taiisha, unable to go due to work, left Ty with no choice but to make the drive back to Jackson. Even though she had already missed significant class time, Ty, ever the devoted mother, couldn't bear the thought of her son being in an uncomfortable situation or left uncertain of his care. She made the immediate decision to return, leaving her frustration behind in order to care for her child. Unfortunately, if only she knew, that would be the last time she would be found alive. Ty and Bryce's father, Taiisha, had a family dynamic which would often become a source of strain between Ty and Bryce. Outwardly, Taiisha had no public record of violence or confrontations. Neighbors described him as quiet, even reserved. Yet behind closed doors, his presence was far from calming. His involvement in family matters frequently stirred tension, especially when it came to the custody arrangements for his grandson, Tanston. For Ty, these disputes were exhausting. She clashed repeatedly with Taiisha and his family over parental responsibilities, frustrated by Bryce's reluctance to carry his share of the burden. While Taiisha wasn't always directly engaged in every argument, his loyalty to his son meant he often sided with Bryce. This support created a hostile atmosphere whenever Ty was around, intensifying the already fragile situation. What might have seemed like ordinary family disagreements were, in reality, laying the groundwork for deeper conflict. Due to these unresolved disputes, Ty made sure to never go over to Bryce's without a family or friend, which was the same thing she did on this day. On her way back to Bryce's home, Ty stopped at Jackson to pick up another friend called Nadia, who lived near Bryce's home, making them 3 in number. On getting to the home, Nadia, sensing the escalating tension between the families, handed Ty a stun gun for protection, just in case things went wrong. As the 2 women arrived at Bryce's house, Ty was ready to pick up Tanston and leave, but she couldn't have known the tragic events that were about to unfold. Upon arriving at Bryce's residence, Ty stepped onto the porch and knocked on the door. The confrontation began when Bryce's father, Taiisha Curry, answered the door. The encounter was described as tense from the very start. According to witnesses, Taiisha accused Ty of being overly aggressive, and an argument quickly followed. Taiisha allegedly claimed that Tai told him to shut up during their exchange, but what happened next would escalate things far beyond a simple disagreement. Taiisha retreated into the house, but returned moments later, not with words, but with a weapon. Without any further warning, he opened fire, shooting Tai 5 times.
When he came back out of the house, he started.
We need to call the police.
Witnesses were horrified by the unexpected violence. Tai, mortally wounded, managed to stagger away from the house and toward her car. She climbed into the vehicle, trying desperately to flee the scene, but the gunshot wounds were too severe. As she attempted to drive away, she lost control of the car, crashing into a neighbor's yard. It was a heartbreaking and terrifying moment for all involved. One of Tai's friends, still seated beside her in the car, helplessly held her as she lost consciousness. The police arrived at the scene shortly afterward, but it was already too late. Tai was pronounced dead from her injuries. The authorities were quick to identify Taiisha Curry as the shooter. The investigation was launched immediately, and yet, as shocking as the crime was, no arrests were made. The decision to allow Taiisha to remain free and without charges shocked Tai's family and friends, who struggled to understand how such a violent act could occur with no legal consequences. Initially, the police had conflicting reports about the nature of the encounter. Tai's friend Nadia stated that she had been the one who gave Tai the stun gun, and that Tai had only gone to retrieve her son and never intended to escalate the situation.
For protection, because they were talking like earlier that morning, they was already calling her and threatening her.
However, some law enforcement reports suggested that Tai had activated the stun gun during her argument with Taiisha, which allegedly escalated the situation. This report, however, was fiercely denied by those who knew Tai best. They insisted that she was simply trying to peacefully pick up her son, not provoke any violence. Despite a thorough investigation into the shooting, no arrests were made, and the case was handed over to the district attorney's office.
This district attorney, even the mayor, we want answers. And whoever we need to be held accountable, we're going to do that.
The legal system's failure to take action left Tai's family and community devastated and enraged. How could a man who took the life of a young mother walk free? Where was the justice for Taiisha? In the aftermath of the shooting, Tai's family became vocal advocates for justice. They were not just mourning the loss of a beloved daughter, sister, and mother, they were also struggling to make sense of the fact that no one had been held accountable for her death. They questioned how such a tragedy could happen when there were clear red flags in the family dynamics and a violent confrontation that escalated to murder. The Madison County Sheriff's Office released a statement acknowledging the escalating disturbance. According to their account, witnesses claimed that Tai arrived armed with a stun gun and was actively brandishing it at the time she was shot. This official narrative painted her as the aggressor, but her friends and loved ones strongly rejected that version of events. They insisted it was a setup, maintaining that Tai had gone there only to retrieve her child, not to provoke or escalate the situation. To them, the sheriff's account was not only inaccurate, but deeply unfair, further compounding their grief. The sheriff's office emphasized that all evidence had been forwarded to the district attorney's office, leaving the decision about potential charges in the hands of prosecutors.
Madison County Sheriff's Office sent us a press release saying the disturbance escalated and witnesses corroborated that Ms. Starks arrived with a stun gun and was actively arching the device when she was shot. They told us all information has been turned over to the district attorney's office. We contacted the Madison County District Attorney, Jody Pickens, who said no decision has been made on charges.
District Attorney Jody Pickens, when contacted, confirmed that no decision had yet been made. This lack of clarity only fueled frustration within Taiisha's family, who demanded transparency and accountability, feeling that justice was being delayed. Tai's mother, Taiisha, spoke out, expressing her belief that her daughter's death was a planned event.
For them to have a gun, I feel like that was all planned. They did not have to do this to my daughter. She had her whole future ahead of her.
She openly shared her frustrations about the lack of accountability and questioned how Taiisha could be allowed to remain free after taking Tai's life.
I'm upset because my daughter was senseless.
Public protests were held, and the community rallied in support of Tai's family, demanding that the justice system take action.
Jackson, Tennessee family desperate for justice, taking their demands to the district attorney's office. They want the person who they say killed a young mother arrested.
They say that person is someone the family knows all too well. WRG's April Thompson has more on the twist in this case and why officials say they have more investigating to do.
About a dozen protesters with signs rallied at the state office building in Jackson, Tennessee Thursday. Taiisha Harris pushed for this demonstration, hoping it will bring answers.
However, despite all the public outcry, the Madison County District Attorney's Office confirmed that no new updates were available regarding the case. As the months passed, the family's pain deepened, and they continued to fight for justice, hoping that the legal system would finally hold Taiisha accountable for his actions. In the midst of their grief, Tai's family received another blow. Bryce and his family moved to Texas, taking Tai's young son, Taiisha, with them. The family was not allowed to see their grandson, which added to the emotional burden they already carried. Taiisha, still devastated by her daughter's death, became an outspoken advocate for justice.
I just want justice for my daughter, and I want answers.
I'm Taisha's father. I just want justice and some answers.
She knew that her daughter's legacy had to be honored, but at the same time, the family could not move on until they had answers. Taiisha and her family fought for custody of Taiisha, knowing that her grandson had already lost his mother, and now they feared he would be kept from them indefinitely. The community's support was invaluable during this time.
This man had time enough to go and cool off, and he murdered a young black mother in cold blood.
With a GoFundMe account opened to help cover the costs of the family's legal battles and to keep pushing for justice. As of now, the case remains under investigation, and a lack of accountability has left Taiisha's family with an overwhelming sense of hopelessness. But despite all the pain and frustration, Taiisha's memory lives on through her son and the many lives she touched with her kindness, strength, and dedication. In the weeks and months following the shooting, Tai's family was not only grappling with the loss of their beloved daughter, mother, and sister, but also with the horrifying reality that her son, Taiisha, was now in the custody of the man who had caused their family so much pain, Bryce Curry, and his father, Taiisha Curry. As the investigation continued to stall, the community around Taiisha's family grew more and more frustrated. The lack of legal consequences for Taiisha Curry's actions was seen as an injustice by many in Jackson, Tennessee. Those who knew Tai remembered her as a bright, loving, and hard-working individual. She had dreams of building a future for her son, dreams that were cruelly shattered by the violent actions of a man who had no right to take her life. Tai's friends and loved ones took to social media to express their outrage, sharing messages of love for Tai while calling for justice. Online petitions began circulating, calling for Taiisha Curry to be arrested and held accountable for his actions.
Taiisha was set up. They wanted to get that girl. And if it was up to me, the daddy would be in jail, the mama would be in jail, and Taiisha baby daddy would be in jail. I don't care because the granddad all they ass to be in jail. Because you mean to tell me it was your day for to keep your child? You steady blowing this girl phone up while she at school trying to get her education, trying to make a living for her and her kids, trying to make the best life possible. It's giving you hater. But we ain't gonna talk about that. Y'all did all that knowing that it was court order for this man to keep this baby. So when she being a mama, her being a mama, because that's what any a mother would do. Me as a mother, I would leave if somebody keep calling me talking about some, come get your child, I want to keep my child, court ordered or not, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go get my baby. You see what I'm saying? So when she get there, y'all get into an altercation, which y'all already knew it was going to be an altercation because the relationship with the family was toxic anyway. Like, y'all knew that. He decided to go in the house and get a gun. And this young lady, compared to him, little girl, and as a man, yeah, she was set up, and that shit was definitely premeditated, and I don't understand how ain't nobody in jail, because the whole house would be locked up if I was on the motherfucking force. Y'all talk so much about bitter baby mamas, but let's talk about these crazy mental patient bitter baby daddies. Justice for Taiisha.
Protests were organized by those who had known Tai, and soon the media picked up on the case, bringing much-needed attention to the family's plight. Despite the public outcry, the legal system continued to drag its feet. The Madison County Sheriff's Office and the District Attorney's Office were both aware of the situation, but despite the mounting pressure, no action was taken against Taiisha Curry. The Sheriff's Office confirmed that they had turned all of the evidence over to the District Attorney's Office, but the decision about whether or not to press charges was still pending. Tai's family, understandably, found this frustrating and nearly impossible to accept. After all, the evidence was clear. Taiisha Curry had shot Tai 5 times in what appeared to be an unprovoked attack. It was a horrific crime that seemed to demand swift and decisive action, yet the delays continued. The legal system's lack of accountability created even more of a divide between the family and the law. With every passing day, the pain of losing Tai deepened, and the hope for justice seemed to slip further out of reach. Yet Tai's family refused to give up. They continued to demand transparency from the authorities, pushing for answers, and they made it clear that they would not rest until justice was served for Taiisha. As the months dragged on, Taiisha's family continued to demand answers. The case remained under investigation, with no official charges filed against Taiisha Curry, despite the overwhelming evidence that Taiisha's death had been a result of his actions. Will Taiisha's family ever see justice for the brutal and senseless murder of their beloved one? Will Tansitan ever be returned to the arms of their maternal family, who love him deeply? The answers remain uncertain, but one thing is clear. Taiisha's memory will not fade, and her family's fight for justice will continue until they find peace. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.